L'chaim v'livracha, to life and to blessings. So how's life? How are the blessings? Do you wake up every morning feeling gratitude? God has restored your soul within you. You say, Maidani, thanking God for the restoration of your soul within you. And you feel, ah, right? You feel elevated, right? You feel elevated. You've got a day. What do you have a day to do? Oh, to change the world for good. Is your day to be elevated, or is your day to be earthy and bring the light of God into this world? So we have a soul that all it wants to do is to be connected. It just wants to be elevated through that connection, to be consumed in the oneness of God. But then we also have a purpose that we that we need to fulfill. We have a purpose that we need to fulfill. And that purpose is greater than us, even greater than the soul's desire to be elevated. And that purpose is to bring the divine into this world. That is the ultimate purpose. Welcome to Tanya. Today I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We have been discussing in this fourth essay of Tanya, of Kunshas Achrein, by our teacher, the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, the greatness in the physical act of a mitzvah in this world, as opposed to the soul's inherent natural love and awe of God that it experiences. The nature of the human condition is that we're seeking experiences. Those experiences are far and wide, different ways. The nature of the soul is it has a love of God and it wants attachment. It wants connection. And what greater a connection can there be than a divine connection? And that's what the soul seeks. It seeks at every moment that it can have that connection. Yet, at the same time, there's a purpose that we're here. And the purpose that we're here doesn't preclude connection to God, obviously, but it's not about the experience of that connection. Because the experience of that connection, what does it do? It kind of removes you from here and now. And that's why in other faiths and other religions, you go on top of a mountain, you meditate, you go into a forest. Why? Because you want to elevate yourself. You want to remove yourself from the fray. You want to remove yourself from all of the difficulties that hold you back. You want to elevate yourself. So in Kabbalistic terms, that would be, we have the light of the soul, and then we have the body that's the vessel. So what would that mean in mystical terms is that the light removes itself from the vessel and becomes elevated on high. Says the Alter Rebbe, but that's not good. Because that's missing the point of creation. The point of creation is not to elevate ourselves beyond creation, which means beyond the challenge, beyond the fray, beyond the darkness, right? Which naturally, that's what we want. Who needs all of this? Some people struggle so greatly with it, God forbid, they contemplate suicide because they can't deal with it. So they want the light of their soul to be removed from the vessel of the body. It's too difficult. That's the extreme, of course. That is missing the point of creation. And even when it comes in a form that's a good form, the love of God, but that love of God is being expressed by elevation, removal, right? No. The mitzvah, on the other hand, has to be done with a physical object, right? Having some coffee, making a blessing on it, or better yet, taking a coin, giving it to charity, right? That's truly physical. Or taking leather from an animal and having a mezuzah on your doorpost, or a tefillin on your arms. Lighting Shabbos candles this evening, right? All physical actions. So it seems like, for many people, all it is, a nice custom. It's a nice thing to do that kind of keeps together your Jewishness, keeps people, a community together. But, it's not elevating. It's an action. It's a mere action. An experience of love of God that feels elevating. Yeah, but that's missing the point. Because the point is to draw godliness into this world, to bring the light from above and draw it down here. How do we do that? Through the mitzvah. So it's not about moving up and up, out, the light out, removed from the vessel, but it is about drawing the light from above and bringing it down. And we elicit that through the act of the mitzvah. That's what we do. We elicit it by the act of the mitzvah. How do we have that power? Because God gave us that power. We wouldn't have the power otherwise. He says, give charity, light your Shabbos candles, eat kosher, right? The observance of Shabbos, putting on tefillin, so on and so forth, is drawing down the divine into this world. And that is the true purpose of creation. Otherwise, who needs this if we're only meant to be elevated in the love of God? Right? Because our soul had that before we came here. Now, there is a concept of elevation. It's called Shabbos, Yom Kippur. But the difference is that the light of the world that's in the vessel of the world, right, are both elevated. Shabbos, what defines Shabbos? Why is it that 1 minute after sunset, that is Shabbos, you can't do these things? So for most people, they just think it's just, a demarcation. And, it's a demarcation. Yeah, you have to have some point where you start something new. right? So this is the demarcation. Is it absolute? I mean, in law, it's absolute, but is it absolute in fact? It is. Why? Because you know what happens when the sun sets at that moment? There's an elevation of the material physical world, but not that the light is removed from the vessel, but the light in the vessel of creation, of all of creation, right? Because everything in creation is a light and vessel, right? Right. This has got a light to it and a vessel to it. The materiality of it is the vessel. The spark of God that animates it is its light, right? Well, actually, no, that doesn't even. No. There's a spiritual part of this that's vessel and light, both things on the spiritual. It's reflected in the physical. The vessel that contains something, right? That's what a vessel does, contains something. In any case, the point is that Shabbos comes at the moment it's sunset. The light and vessel of all of creation, all of that God animates in this world, which is, again, everything, is upgraded to a different world, to more spiritual world. But it's both light and vessel that are upgraded, right? And therefore, that's why in that level of being, doing work is antithetical to that world. And that's why you're not allowed to do work on a mystical level, right? Because it's antithetical to the place you're at. We're not aware of that. You know, Jewish law just dictates that, right? Because we're not spiritually sensitive. We're not spiritually sensitive on how the world is literally changed in spirit, right? Physically, it seems the same world, right? No different. All the things that we do to prepare for Shabbos, lighting the Shabbos candles, having a table set, and all those things are a reflection of the spiritual reality, right? They're a reflection of spiritual reality. So we do those things in the physical, but it's a spiritual reality that the world is elevated. But that's not like the love of the soul. The love of the soul that you have, that's not connected to a mitzvah. That's just my experience, is something that's elevating, but like the light is being removed from the vessel. And that's not good. Shabbos is elevated, the light and the vessel of all of creation is being elevated, not merely the light. A mitzvah is about drawing down into this world the light of God, a light into the vessel of this world, right? On Shabbos, we do it on just a more elevated plane. During the weekday, that we're now downgraded from Shabbos. Now we hope that Shabbos will overflow into the weekday. And that's why when we make Havdalah, you pour the wine to overflow the cup, that the overflowing of what we experience on Shabbos and what we accomplish on Shabbos should overflow into the weekday, meaning that the weekday that now is a come down, and that's why we have the besumim, we smell the fragrance because our soul is lacking something now. It's missing Shabbos. So we kind of revive it with the besumim, with the fragrance of of cloves, for example, to reinvigorate the soul, because now the world is now brought down. And into that environment, we hope to take and bring now the light of God that we have from Shabbos into the world. But that is the ultimate purpose. Greater, much greater than the love that we naturally have in our soul for God that's not connected to a mitzvah. Of course, the optimum is to do the mitzvah with the love of God. And we're speaking about the love of God that a person can experience, that is not expressed through a mitzvah of God. Right? That's the distinction we're talking about. Is that clear? Yeah? Okay, we have any questions? Let's see over here if we have any questions. Are certain mitzvahs that can be elevated higher than others? The mitzvah is not about elevation, remember. Mitzvah is about drawing down godliness into this world, because this is the place. This is the point, is here. Are there hidden sparks mitzvahs that aren't elevating? We elevate a mitzvah through the love and awe of God. We do elevate mitzvahs, by the way, but that's through the act of the mitzvah that you have the love and awe of God, then there's an elevation at this also at the same time. But the elevation is more of the mitzvah that's elevated, with the thrust, with the wings that carry it of love and awe of God. Distinction there. Hope that's clear. Okay. Any questions here? No. All right. Thank you, folks. Any questions here? Nope. Everything seems to be working fine. All right, folks, Rambam coming up. Wishing everybody a wonderful good Shabbos. Oh, Jane has a question. Hold on. Or is your question, you have question marks before it? Missed it? Let us see. Do we have? I don't see her. Either post it again, Jane. So I don't see it. Sorry. All right. Looks like we're all good. All right. God bless you, folks.